The Dallas Mavericks are making big moves, and with the first game of preseason already in the books, although we didn't win the first game of preseason, the Dallas Mavericks saw a lot of good things from our second and third string unit, as the night belonged to the young guys that are still developing and fighting for a roster spot, and they only lost by 5 points to the Memphis Grizzlies. And with a very limited roster selection, as we don't have that many available spots, and only 4 games of preseason, the Dallas Mavericks are treating each and every game like a tryout period for the players that don't have guaranteed contracts, and they'll be fighting for a roster spot. And it was reported earlier today that AJ Lawson has been waived from the Dallas Mavericks. So in this video, we're going to take a look at everything that's going on with the roster. Why did AJ Lawson get waived? Who's going to replace him? And what does that mean for the remainder of the guys that are still fighting for a spot? But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, we're currently sitting at 13,465 subscribers. We're getting so close to that goal of 15K before the end of the year, which I really do believe that we can hit that goal. But if you want to be up to date on everything Mavericks related, the live streams, the watch longs, the giveaways, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on a single thing that we do. But like I said in the intro, the Dallas Mavericks had our first preseason game, and it didn't really feel like a loss. We lost by 5 points to a Memphis Grizzlies team that had the majority of their players, but we were playing our second and third string unit. Although we did play Daniel Gafford, Derrick Lively, Quentin Grimes, and Najee Marshall, the night belonged to the young guys that are still fighting for a roster spot. We saw Jaden Hardy, we saw Omax, we saw Jay-Z and Gortman, we saw Jamarian Sharp. Even Dwight Powell was out there doing Dwight Powell things. But like I said as well, each game is a little bit of a tryout period because we don't have that many actual slots to give, and we have a lot of good and talented young players that may not be able to help us win a championship now, but can definitely be something that we cultivate and we just develop in-house for down the road. And if we take a look right here, it was reported that the Dallas Mavericks have waived AJ Lawson. His contract was non-guaranteed for the 2024-2025 season, and that opens up one spot that obviously will be filled by Markieff Morris. As we all know, he was picked up not too long ago, which really was a little bit awkward because we didn't know what his contract looked like, how many years, what was the money. We're right in front of that first apron. We're not going to cross that first apron for someone like Markieff Morris, but for a lot of people, they believe that Markieff Morris did deserve to be on this team. He was an integral part of just leadership and keeping the team together in the locker room as well as on the bench. And for a championship quality team like the Dallas Mavericks, you need players like that. It's not realistic to think that all 15 players are going to play in any given game. Realistically, throughout the season, we may only go 9 or even 10 players deep, depending on the situation and the teams that we play against. And even in the playoffs, you typically play a tighter rotation of only 7 to 8 players. So with the rest of those players on the bench, it's more like a next man up mentality. When you're called, you need to be ready to go because anything can happen. But for the other players, it is just to cultivate that talent, stash them in the G League, see how they can develop in the next few years. As if we do win this year, we have the next few years where we can still be competitive with the quality talent that we do have. But if we just take a look right here, Mavericks make first cut of preseason by waiving third-year guard AJ Lawson. And it also says that Lawson could be re-signed with the Mavericks' final two-way spot. We do have one spot available of our two-way slots that we do have. And we have a lot of players that are on the training camp invites, the E10, the Exhibition 10 contracts. They're all fighting for a spot, and there's really only one spot remaining. But the article does continue saying, AJ has been great for us, said Mavericks coach Jason Kidd. Unfortunately, they waived him today. We wish him the best of luck. When you look at the athleticism, the way that he's improved, the development, he did everything we asked. There's a big jump in his game, but looking at the numbers, management had to make a decision. It's a decision that was foreshadowed, especially since Dallas re-signing of Markieff Morris. The deadline to finalize rosters for the regular season is October 21st, but Lawson or Morris need to be waived by October 19th in order to stay below the first apron of the league's new collective bargaining agreement. So like I said, regardless if we kept AJ Lawson, regardless if since we did sign Markieff Morris, we are not crossing that first apron. Nico Harrison is an amazing GM. He did great work this summer without moving a single first round pick, without ever crossing over that first apron, and that's what the team aims to do as we continue to finalize this roster. Like I said before, we're not playing all 15 players on any given night. The majority of the guys that are going to be playing the majority of the minutes, doing the bulk of the winning for us, they're already solidified. They already know their lineup in the roster. They already know that they're going to be here long term. But it's the end of the bench. It's the guys that are going to try and fight their way for a roster spot now, so in the next few years, they can also crack the rotation. Those are the spots that are still available. They're still up for grabs. And after last night's game, we saw a few players that could arguably just slide right into that last two-way spot. But if we just continue with this article, It does read. The Mavericks could opt to re-sign Lawson with their third two-way spot, which is currently up for grabs between training camp signees Jay-Z Gortman, Jamarian Sharp, and Emmanuel Miller. Lawson had 8 points and 3 rebounds off the bench in Monday's preseason loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. Lawson went undrafted in 2021 out of South Carolina and spent time with the College Park Skyhawks for his rookie season and signed two-way contracts with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And there you have it. AJ Lawson, unfortunately, just didn't really have that great of a first preseason game. We saw a lot of the younger guys step up in this game compared to all of last season. Like I said, Jaden Hardy looked like a new player. He looked more confident. Still with the turnovers and the unnecessary fouls. He's very rough around the edges as he has a very high motor. But with those 21 points and going 6 of 10 from 3, I'll take that any night from Jaden Hardy. We also saw Omax playing a lot more confidently and just making the right moves on the offensive end as well as the defensive end, and he was also trying his best at the end of the game to just try and get a win, but unfortunately it didn't happen. We have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of young developing talent, but when you have a championship roster like the ones that we have where we're trying to make it back to the finals, you can't really worry about who is all developing at the end of the bench. We need players who can help us now, but if we are going to worry about who is still developing, who does deserve a roster spot, those players need to be a little bit further along than AJ Lawson, who really didn't stand out last night. He still looks like the player that he was last season, and I do somewhat, to a degree, agree with management to cut AJ Lawson. It does hurt a little bit. We become fans of these players, but it is a business. We're trying to win. You got to do what you got to do. So cutting AJ Lawson was the right choice. Signing Markieff Morris is also the right choice, but we do have one two-way spot still available. We have a few players that are still up for grabs when it comes to that spot. I truly believe that Jay-Z Gortman has proved more than enough in the first game that he definitely deserves that last two-way spot. Maybe even cut another player that's holding up a two-way spot to give to someone like Jamarian Sharp. He's 7'5", easy, just swatting shots left and right. Something that we could definitely use. But like I just said, you don't want to worry too much about having a bunch of young players that you have to stash in the G League, worry about their development when you need to focus on the players that can help you win right now. But let me know in the comment section down below, do you think that the Dallas Mavericks should have waived AJ Lawson, or do you think we should have kept him and just waived Markieff Morris? Let me know down in the comment section. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing another giveaway. The winner will be announced this Saturday as we go live. But till next time, drink water. Peace.